Welcome. Welcome to this session of Reinventing Pilgrimage in Europe. This project tries to get a first picture of the developments and the dynamics of the pilgrimage in European countries. Today we focus on Ireland. Michael Walsh is the representative of the Camino Society Ireland, and he will inform us on the pilgrimages in Ireland, a country where religion is an important part of life. Michael, what is happening in the field of pilgrimage in Ireland?
Good morning, Peter, and greetings from Tipperary in the heartland of Ireland. Pilgrimage in Ireland, it goes back many centuries. We've had a huge tradition of internal pilgrimage in the country to places, religious sites in Ireland itself. There's also been a tradition of pilgrims from Ireland going abroad. They've gone to England, they've gone to Rome, to Jerusalem, and in the context of what we're speaking about today, Santiago de Compostela. This tradition goes back to the 12th century. But in Ireland today, I suppose that the most common thing we have in Ireland is, for the last number of years, a pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela has increased in huge numbers. Many thousands of people up until recently, part of the way the world has gone for the last year or two, went to Santiago every year. You had many thousands on the road, walking all of the routes. But today I'd like to talk to you in particular about one particular route. Traditionally, Irish pilgrims, when they went to Santiago, going back to the 12th century and throughout the Middle Ages, they went to a place called La Coruna, just north of Santiago.
And that's by boat, I suppose.
By boat, yes. And Ryanair were not around in those days, thankfully. they had no choice but to go by boat. And they left through many ports in Ireland, throughout all around the coast of Ireland, from Drogheda to Galway in the west, Drogheda in the east, Dublin, from near St. James's Church in Dublin, from Dingle in Kerry in the west coast of Ireland and southwest of Ireland, from Cork, our second major city, from Waterford, from Ardmore. There were so many embarkation points that went to Santiago, that went to A Coruña. And many of them actually would go to England, to Southampton, and continue on to A Coruña. But I suppose the difficulty with the modern day pilgrim and the pilgrims in those days was that A Coruña is only 75 kilometers from Santiago. So we have the rule that was brought in by, I presume, the authorities in Spain years ago, that to get your Compostela, which was your certificate, your indulgence, you had to walk the last 100 kilometers. So for pilgrims, modern pilgrims going to A Coruña, walking to Santiago, at the end of it, yes, you had your walk, you had your beautiful walk through Galicia, but when you got to the cathedral, there was no Compostela waiting for you. So I think it's about 4 or 5 years ago, the authorities in the cathedral and in A Coruña got together and had to have a rethink on this, because a pilgrimage from A Coruña was deeply involved with tradition. So the solution that they came to was that, yes, you could walk, and in particular only from A Coruña to Santiago, the 75 kilometers, but you could also add on minimum of 25 kilometers in your home country. Now, they went to the different...
And that makes the pilgrimage within Ireland booming?
Yes, up to just around this time, there has been a complete rethink of pilgrimage in Ireland. There's a very good group called pilgrimpath.ie, have been working for many years on looking at pilgrim routes in Ireland, because there were so many routes in Ireland. Now, the routes in Ireland, they were from short routes of 4 or 5 kilometers up to 5-day pilgrimages, always to places associated with pilgrimage or associated with a religious theme behind them.
I'll show you the picture of you
can see the major ones there are, starting at the top of the picture up in Donegal. Columkill was an Irish saint. Lochderg in Donegal is an island. Where people go out and stay for 2 or 3 days, and they fast and they pray on the island. To the west there, Tochar in Mayo. Tochar it's a pilgrimage from an abbey called Ballantubber to what we call our sacred mountain, Croagh Patrick, called after our patron saint, St. Patrick. A very special place, a difficult climb. You know, it's a long walk. It's a 2-day walk. It's a climb up to the top of a mountain that, you know, even some people do it in their bare feet. They don't even wear shoes. Coming down there in Offaly, Schliemore, St. Bridget's Way, or St. Bridget was another one of our female patron saint. St. Kevin's Way in Wicklow. It's a couple of days walking. Pilgrim Paths in County Clare, Kilcommon near me here in Tipperary, down in West Kerry, Cusson and Nave in Kerry, Cnuch na Dubber, Pilgrim Path. Some of these are difficult walks. St. Finbarr's Path in Cork, and then you have St. Declan's Way in Waterford and Tipperary. That usually takes about 5 days to walk. So you had all of these walks throughout the country. And
what is the nature of these walks? Is that religious?
Yeah, but in the main, there were religious walks, because this is where the pilgrimage came from. Other walks have developed over the years, in the last few years in Ireland. Greenways, our old railway tracks. The railways were closed in the 1940s and 50s, underused, and local communities have come on board and decided to reopen these as cycling tracks and walking tracks. And groups then use them for pilgrimage, might be stretching it a little bit, but they use them as walks. And people use them for raising funds, you know, walks for charity, walks for raising funds for different organizations, local organizations. So Pilgrim Paths, the group, have got together in the last few years, and they have picked out a number of these walks. And a bit like the Compostela, if you do 5 of them, a particular group of 5, you can qualify for a chastis. Chastis is an Irish word for certificate. It's like a Compostela. And
these are the routes.
So what we did was, when the authorities in Galicia came to the different pilgrim groups and said, look, can you promote the route from A Coruña to Santiago? We looked at the routes on the first picture, and we picked out a number of them that were over 25 kilometers. And we have developed them, as you can see in this picture. We have on the left-hand side in the west, there are 2, Croagh Patrick Heritage Trail and Tochar. Coming down to the Kerry Camino, the people in Kerry are very enterprising people, and they have a wonderful walk from a place called Tralee to Dingle. And Dingle was an embarkation point for people going on the Coruña, on the Camino to Santiago. There's actually, the final point in Dingle is the Church of St. James in Dingle. That walk is carried out over 2 or 3 days, depending on your ability or your speed. Just below it, there's a walk called Slí or Shincher. That is it's a Gaelic term, Slí or Shincher, and it means in English, it is the way of our ancestors. And
that is number 5 or 4?
Number 4 there.
Yes. Okay.
And the story behind that one is very interesting, because it has a huge connection with Galicia. If you go to Coruña and you look west, the Miletians came to the west of Ireland. The Miletians were the natives of Galicia, and they came to Ireland. I will not try and tell you what year it was. It was back in over 1,000 years ago.
Long ago. Yeah.
Long ago, as I say here, fado, it's an Irish expression, long ago. And the Miletians came to Ireland, so there was a huge connection. So that walk was put together by a lovely man, Jerry Enright, who, in fact, Jerry 2 years ago, while on this Camino in Vigo, went out to the island of Seas, and he actually he died suddenly on this Camino. And it's a tribute to this guy, Jerry Enright, a lovely, lovely man. And Jerry called this the way of our ancestors, Slí or Shincher, because he felt that you were walking from Glen Bay to Cahersiveen, you were looking out on the ocean that the Miletians came into Ireland from. So a strong connection. Route number 5 is St. Finbarr's Way. St. Finbar is an Irish saint. The Cork people call themselves the Rebel County. They're very independent part of Ireland, and they have their own walk down there. It's a beautiful walk across some fantastic land. Number 6 there is St. Declan's Way. This is a route that has prospered in recent times. Even throughout this pandemic, there are walking groups walking it every weekend, a very, very active local community. And the walk takes 4 to 5 days. It is a walk from Cashel, which was the seat of the kings of Munster, all the way to the coast to Ardmore. And that area there, again, was one of the places that people left Ireland from to go to Coruna. St. Kevin's Way, which is number 7. St. Kevin's Way is across the Wicklow Mountains into Glendalough, which is an absolutely amazing place for pilgrimage. Wonderful scenery, beautiful route. On the coast, then you have the Bray coastline, the Bray coastal route, and the Bray coastal route starts in Bray, south of Dublin. It goes along the coastline, and it comes it's a coastal route, but it also comes into the city, and it finishes at St. James's Church. And in St. James's Church in Dublin, it's right beside the River Liffey. St. James's Church was that area. It's actually next door to the Guinness Brewery for anyone who ever comes to Dublin. So you can stop and you can have a lovely pint of Guinness there as well, or in the area. But St. James's Church is where the Irish Camino Society, we have an information centre there which gives information on the Camino, and we open on Saturday, at the moment on a Saturday, just to help people out. And it's a place where you can actually get a pilgrim's blessing before you start your Camino. And then one of the newer ones is the Boyne Valley Camino Loop. The Boyne Valley, it's an area, it's the site of major historical events in Ireland. There was an orange man came over there many years ago and caused us an awful lot of trouble. It's a loop walk. It goes out to a place called Bellefonte Abbey, and it's an area. Drogheda, the town of Drogheda, was again another place where Irish pilgrims left from in the Middle Ages to go to Coruna. So, and we're also looking at increasing the number of routes. The main point we make when we look at all these routes. Officially, it's 25 kilometers in your own country, but I think that to keep with the ethos of the Camino, a route should have an association with pilgrimage. It should have an association with there has to be a purpose to your walk. I mean, what is a pilgrimage? But it's a walk, for me, it's a walk with a purpose, and it's your own purpose. So rather than just picking any routes, we ask Irish groups to come to us with the routes, because as a Camino society, we don't have the resources or the facilities to maintain these routes. You need like for people who walk the routes, they number one, they have to have an official Camino passport.
Yes.
And there must be a facility to have it.
And this Camino passport is accepted by the Pilgrims office in Santiago.
Yeah, it has to be either one from Santiago or one from the groupings or the associations that are approved by the Pilgrims office, to make it very simple. So to make it easy for people, we all of these routes, there is a facility to have evidence of your pilgrimage. But again, the evidence is.
You showed me that you also have an own Compostela.
We have. Hopefully, you can see it here. It's a certificate.
Yes.
This just makes it easy for the Pilgrims office to, without question, when you arrive in with you in Ireland, you get your Pilgrim's passport stamped. You bring your Compostela with you, and you continue from Coruna getting your 2 stamps every day, all the way to the Pilgrim. And when you arrive at the Pilgrim's office, it's very simple. They are very much aware of the system that we have, and they accept it without any problems. And and again, it's a beautiful. This is a lovely certificate. It's people like, as you know, pilgrims love souvenirs. They love. You know, not everybody, but many love a souvenir. And this one is in Gaelic, it's in English, and it's in Spanish. So it's a lovely. And we don't. I mean, people they purchase our passport. We give them the Compostela. You know, it's not a money making idea at all.
And so you have a picture, an idea of the number of people who do the pilgrim routes within Ireland. How many?
It's really only starting at the moment. I give an example that the St. Declan's Way, which I spoke about earlier, and it's over 5 days. This summer, there were many hundreds of people on that route. And now, many of them will never go to Santiago. The route in the Boyne Valley, which is a looped route, this has really taken off. Of course, it's very near Dublin. It's a very easy access the route. You can get a train from Dublin to it. You can walk it in one day. It's just over 25 kilometers. It's a good day's walking. They have had numerous groups out over the summer of weekends. Many of the other routes, we're talking small numbers at the moment, but this is like the Camino de Santiago has been on the go for almost 1,000 years. This is only on the road for the last 4 years. It's gaining popularity, and I think it is a lovely connection, because the one thing you can be sure of, that if you walk in Ireland, you're walking in the shoes of your ancestors. If you go to Coruna, you definitely are following almost the same route as people going back to the Middle Ages have walked. And to me, that is a lovely way to walk the Camino. And again, the world has gone, time is tight for some people. They may not have the opportunity to go for long Camino, go for a month, go for 2 months, go for 2 weeks. This is an opportunity to connect. And I believe, like, I know the association in England are marking their own routes for the 25 kilometers. Yeah. But I emphasize that it's only valid from A Coruña down. So if you want to do the English Camino, Camino Inglese, you go to Ferrol. We gave this the term Celtic Camino, because we feel that it's the Celtic connection. The connection between Spain, Galicia and Ireland goes back a long way, all along the west coast of Ireland. Back in those days, there were no roads. It was a boat. The wonderful connection a few years ago was that a group of, I'd be very polite in this, a couple of mad Irishmen decided to take a small 23-foot navogue, which is a small boat. It's timber covered in canvas and tar. They started in Dublin. They went down the east coast of Ireland, connected with the Celtic countries. They connected with Wales, Cornwall, across to Brittany, down the west coast of France, and all the way to A Coruña.
And they made it?
And they made it all the way to Santiago.
And no one died?
Well, yeah, not on that. Unfortunately, a year later, they decided that they would continue their journey to Morocco. And unfortunately, Danny Sheehy, a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine, as they passed from Spain into Portugal at the River Minho, down there, Academie, the boat went over, and Danny lost his life there. It was very tragic. He was look at these guys. There were musicians on board. They had Glenn Hansard, the famous Irish, he won an Oscar for his film, and they were on board. But they were full of life, full of energy. There's it's a film called The Camino Voyage. It can be got on Vimeo or all these. It's a wonderful adventure and a journey. And God bless Danny. If you had to go, that was his way. He was a man of immense energy and fun. And we remember him very well.
Yeah, back to the pilgrimages in Ireland.
Yeah.
Where can people get information?
There's two websites I would say would be the best. Pilgrimpath.ie, which is the as I say, it's a sister group to the Camino Society.
Oh.
That's sorry, that's fine.
Sorry, I showed the wrong one.
No, you can see, leave that one there. This is the Camino Society Ireland. As you can see, it gives great information. We have information leaflets on it, and you can see there on the top of it, the Celtic Camino. That gives information on the Celtic Camino in Ireland. It's a lovely, it tells you about the routes, it talks about the ways. It gives you an immense amount of information there on that. Yes. So we have many things. Even there you can see we have a thing called the Book of Pilgrims. People in Ireland can have if they complete their Camino, in this wonderful vellum book, a bit like the Book of Kells, you can have your name inserted in the book and in beautiful calligraphy, very, very professionally done. It's a small charge. It's a non-profit one for us because the calligraphers have to earn their living as well, and they do a beautiful handwritten in old ink pens into this book. But it's fun.
And then you have the other side. That's this one.
The other side.
That's your sister organization.
This is the Pilgrim Paths. It's a group that were formed. To promote pilgrimage within the country. As I said initially, our emphasis for many years has always been the Irish Camino Society was formed in 1992, and the idea was to give something back to the Camino. And so our focus up to recently has always been on Spain, has been on Galicia, on Spain, on the different routes in Spain. But as times changed, the Pilgrim Paths group got together in Ireland, and they're all community-based groups. This is the key to promoting pilgrimage in Ireland. They are community groups, local groups who get together, recognize that there are different pilgrimages in their area. They have a book. I can show it you there. It's I hope that can come up. A guy called John G. O'Dwyer, and in that book, it's I think I just having a quick look. There are over 20 different pilgrim routes in Ireland, throughout the country, from the north of the country right down to the south, even out to an island off the coast called Skellig Michael. And for those who are interested in Skellig Michael has been part of the Star Wars films in recent times. So we're
and all those routes are described in this book
in great detail, in a very easy readable detail. And visitors who come to Ireland, they often come on to our society and say, can you suggest some routes to us in Ireland for short days, long days? I'm here for a week. We say, have a look at first of all, have a look at our own website. Secondly, have a look at Pilgrim Paths. And if you're really pushed, you can get the book on Amazon. It's a very easy book to get. And it condenses everything into just a small, the ones that are near the airport. And it also includes in it a couple of suggestions for some great places to have a pint of Guinness afterwards. So it's a all-encompassing book,
Okay.
That's it.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for this information. I think the time is up, more or less.
Okay.
Is there something that you will add to all you have said?
Well, I just said to people that pilgrimage, while we go to Spain, I think we should all look at our own countries as well. It's a great way also to walk the paths. We said to people in Ireland, walk the paths in Ireland. It gives you a chance to test your boots, your gear, your socks, your backpack. It prepares you for pilgrimage. It gets you into the groove for going. But the most important thing is to enjoy yourself. Is to get out there and enjoy. There's an expression in Ireland. We love the crack. No, it's not that funny stuff that the crack stuff. The crack in Ireland is the fun. It's a pilgrimage without joy although we all do it for so many different reasons, and there are sad reasons as well as there are happy reasons. But try and find I said to people, try and find a bit of joy in it, have a bit of crack, have a bit of fun, enjoy it, enjoy the company, talk to people. But I think more importantly at times is listen. Just listen to people. Go along.
Well, that's a nice end of the interview. Thank you very much for all the information.
Thanks, Peter.
And good luck with the pilgrimages in Ireland and to Santiago.
Well, thank you for having this project, putting it together, because it's been good fun, it's been enjoyable, and I hope it's been some help to people.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much.